does that thing where they pit two women against each other always, you know, Madonna versus Janet Jackson. And it's just a thing to get headlines.
Each other, but it would be on the red carpet. Quickly take a picture and then exit, go our own ways. We would leave little notes here and there like, oh, this place has a really great gym, or, you know, cute little cafe down the street, something like that. But it wasn't until later we had mutual friends because her dancers moved to LA. And I was like around a lot of the early Living Color dancers like J-Lo and all of them. I just was in that, LA was all about, you know, acting lessons, dance lessons. Before I got my record deal, I was doing a lot of that. So I started off in country music, then when people said, oh, this is what you really want to do, well, you'll have to do dancing, and you'll have to do modeling, and you'll have to do acting. So we were doing all of it, which I loved, but I met a lot of people, and I was going out on commercials and doing all these things with like Fergie, oh gosh, Ricky Martin, Mario Lopez. The list goes on and on and on of all these people who actually became really famous. Later on, a lot of those people were working with Deb, and that kind of brought us a little closer. But what really sealed the deal was Mega Python versus Gatorade. Saving the world for everybody, okay? Yeah, I'm a big, huge sci-fi fan. I did that one, I loved it, and then they pitched to me, what if you and Deb did something together? And that's how Mega Python versus Gatorade happened. And I thought it was amazing. So Deb and I had a lot of time just kicking around the set, you know, and we just started talking as girls about our lives and women and our relationships and how's it going. We'd never had that opportunity before. And, you know, that's when we became friends. So it was a good thing. It was, you know, I don't know if we'll do any more sci-fi together. We always wink about it. We loved that fight scene, though.
You sort of were working together, and then all of a sudden you realized, oh wait, we're sort of...
Oh yeah, no, we were friends at the beginning for a very long time. And then he kept asking, and I kept saying no, because I didn't want to happen what happened. I was like, I'd rather, as much as I love you, I'd rather stay your friend. And then one night it happened. Jesus. I couldn't say no.
Just imagine that guy would be a romantic. You know?
Yeah, next question.
So what was it like in the studio when you two were recording Erotic City? That's my next question.
The song speaks for itself.
Well, she's my pop goddess, you know, so I kind of literally fell into her. That sounds a bit bad, but by staring at her picture in, you know, the gatefold sleeve of Parallel Lines and Eat to the Beat, and I just was in love with her, you know, just kind of, you could not help it, you know, and she helped me, like, going through high school. I bought my first packet of hair bleach and dyed my hair blonde, you know. And from that moment, I never looked back, you know. And it was like, and I owe it to Debbie just for kind of giving me this confidence. So to be able to actually have her on your own song is just beyond belief, you know.
Tell us the name of the song again.
It's called Heart's a Liar.
Heart's a Liar. I thought that was the most Debbie title ever.
Yeah.
So the thing about Information Society is that I thought they were British for years. Anyone else think that? Why are you laughing, mister? I'm wearing a Manchester t-shirt. You did? So tell me about that. Why did we think they were British, Mike?
Because they had the British sound. They had that sound that every...
Is that why?
Yeah, because like your voice, okay, listen to Thompson Twins, listen to New Order, listen, there's a sound, and you had it.
Now, if there's a British singer I sound like, it's Phil Oakey.
Yeah.
No, really. And you covered Human League last night in a little different way. It's interesting because you come later in the 80s, even though your first release is in 1983. But your success comes, like your big success comes later in the 80s. And
Well,
I also,
success has come so easy for us. And then 5 years later on, we had this It was weird.
Kiss and Ozzy were the co-headliners. Kiss went on last because they're Kiss. So I end up flying home, and I'm in the top of a 747, and I get in my seat and flying home. Is my last Ozzy show of this whole year on the road, and I'm flying home to have a week of downtime and then start a record with a new band. Gene sits right behind me, and I've known Gene off and on since I was a kid because I grew up in New York, and you'd see the Kiss guys around all over the place. And Gene, after about 20 minutes, I swap seats with his security guy, Andre, and I'm sitting in the middle seat with somebody we don't know, and me and Uncle Gene. I got a 7.5 to 8 hour music industry lecture from Gene Simmons. Robert, I'll tell you, this is what I think, and this is, you should be doing this. Here's my recommendations for you.
That 7-hour lecture you can buy now probably for $50,000.
And I recorded it, which you can buy on Kiss Online for $79.95. No, but he's encyclopedic, and I love the guy, but he went on and on and on, and I'm like, we could watch a movie.